Morning, everybody. Call the Land Use and Development Committee meeting for Monday, November 4th. Let the roll call show that Chairman Klein is absent. I will be conducting the minutes and Member Hanson. We do have appearance with EDP Renewables, Amy Kirk. So I will have her come before committee. Take a seat. Oh, okay. You have the floor, Ms. Kirk.
Great. I didn't realize I was going to get to go first.
I'm
so
sorry,
thank
and you also have 5 minutes.
Okay,
So we got the timer going.
fantastic. Well, thank you so much. My name is Amy Kurt. I'm the Director of Development for EDP Renewables North America. I'm sure many of you are familiar with us. We're one of the largest owners and operators of wind, solar, renewable facilities in the state of Illinois, as well as within the county. And we really appreciate the partnership that we've had with the county, with this committee, as we've built our Brightstock wind farms and Twin Grove wind farms in the past. As you can imagine, I'm here today because we are interested in adding battery storage to these facilities at some point in the future, and we want to make sure that the rules and regulations that you're putting in place today are conducive to our development in the future. So thank you so much for your foresight in putting these plans together, because it really does help us plan for the future so that we know what the blueprint is and what the rules are within which we have to play. That said, there are I'm going to go through 5 specific things in the ordinance, which I'm hoping you can consider in making some, in my mind, these are pretty small tweaks, but these are meaningful to us and to how we go through our development process. So I'm just going to go through an order of the ordinance. The first one I wanted to highlight is under numeral 4, letter B on setbacks. We really think a 200-foot property line setback is too much. Particularly with some of the ways that the shapes of parcels are shaped. By adding a 200-foot setback from roads and from non-participating property lines, you can end up with a battery energy storage facility that is actually more visually impactful than if you allowed us to put our facility closer to property lines or closer to the road. We understand that this is a balancing act, and some people might like to have further setbacks. What I would recommend as a middle ground approach is for at least to allow for waivers or to specify that that setback is from non-participating property lines. So if we sign up a neighboring parcel to participate in the project, then we don't have to have a setback from that participating parcel. A landowner may choose, we would prefer for you to get closer to this property line so that you have less of a visual impact and your facility is more condensed. So we think that you can fix this. One would be just lowering the setback to 50 feet or 100 feet, which we think is more standard. But another way would just be to clarify that that's a setback from a non-participating property line, or that a neighbor could waive that setback. So that's the first issue. The second issue I will highlight today is G, which is on decommissioning. I think your other ordinances specify where that decommissioning fund should go. It should be placed in a financial insurance with a reputable bank that could be accessed by the county. Just having that spelled out would be helpful. Again, something that could come later in the process, but just a slight recommendation. Okay, the next one that I'll highlight is H. H is requiring, if we were to build our BESS, our storage facility in conjunction with solar, which is very possible, and we hope to do this type of facility, but this is requiring us to site the storage facility in the interior of the solar facility, and that really electrically does not make sense. What electrically makes sense is for the storage facility to be right next to the substation. That has the least amount of electrical losses for your storage facility to be right next to that electrical infrastructure. Also, kind of visually, it makes the most sense too, because you have really extensive vegetative screening requirements for us to put up vegetative screening. And if we're gonna do that, we'd rather do it right next to the substation. So then you're screening both the storage facility and the substation together, as opposed to having screening in the middle of a solar park far away from the substation. It doesn't make sense electrically. It doesn't make sense from a visual perspective. So we would recommend that for H, you either clarify that the BESS can also be sited next to a substation, adjacent to a substation. Or you could just take that whole provision out completely, because I really don't think it makes sense. That would be another approach. To have solar panels around your BESS just increases the visual impact. So I'm not quite sure where you were getting at there, but there's a lot of different approaches you could take. Okay, 19 seconds left. I don't quite understand J. The change in access use doesn't make sense to me. And then the last thing, which is really important, is Q, making us responsible for a potential fire and any indirect causes is really concerning. We'd like you to take the word potential out, because we don't want a fire department to say that, you know, there could be a potential fire, so we need to buy a new fire truck and a new ambulance and a new helicopter and a new all these fancy things, and we're on the line for something potential. We will agree to pay for what we have caused, but potential is really open-ended, and and the language here that says but not limited to, or no, sorry, it's the language that says, hang on. Yes, but not limited to, those were the words. That opens it up to any kind of indirect cost that could be directed towards us. So we'd like you to just clarify that we will pay for direct costs, not potential costs. And I think I did that in a little bit over 5 minutes. Thank you for giving me a little bit of space to try to explain these potentially complicated concepts. I'd be happy to answer any questions or provide any more information. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, thank you. Okay. Moving ahead onto the consent agenda. Item 3, request approval of the minutes for October 8th, 2024. We have not received any bills from the auditors, so I will entertain a motion to approve the last month's minutes. Motion by Reeves, seconded by Wendt. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passed. Item 4, departmental matters. Mr. Dick is here. He brings one action item, and that is for a 1A, request by Land Use and Development Committee for a text amendment of the zoning ordinance to allow by special use a battery storage system as a major utility with standards. And I would entertain a motion. Motion by Wendt, seconded by Abel. Mr. Dick, you have the floor.
This originally went to the Land Use Committee in April, and then it was an information item, and it went to a study group to discuss at about 4 or 5 meetings, and it's a work in progress. And as I understand it, you have some other changes you're proposing to put on it today, and you heard the representative, Amy Kirk from EDP, who's also requesting some additional changes. But I have a draft in front of you that I am proposing to send to the Zoning Board of Appeals for public hearing, and conceivably we could add some changes to that as a recommendation to the zoning board.
Thank you. I think with what's happened in light here shortly, it may be in our best interest to table this. So I would need a motion from committee to table. Motion, second. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that was easy. We'll push it back, and this is the 3rd time or something like that we've done this. We just keep, but that's okay. We want to make it right. We want to do it right. Mr. Dick, do you have any other information to provide before committee?
I have none other.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to item 4B, Cassie Taylor, County Administrator. She brings 2 action items, and those are 4B1A, request approval of an escrow agreement by and among Sapphire Sky Wind Energy LLC, McLean County, Illinois, and U.S. Bank. Is there a motion to bring that before committee? We have a motion and a second. Need to bring it up for discussion first.
I'm sorry, what?
We need a second. Okay. Now, Cassie Taylor, you have the floor.
Good morning. I will turn over any discussion to Trevor Sierra, who helped to develop these escrow agreements with the banks. He's better equipped to answer any questions you might have.
I think the intent is to table these as well, so I can save any discussion for next week, or next month. Thank you.
We need approval. We need a motion. Is there a motion to table both 4B1A and B? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Went and Abel. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Back to you again, Ms. Taylor. Any other information to present?
Thank you, Chair Friedrich. I have no other items to present today.
Okay. Is there any other business and communication that this committee has to discuss? Seeing none, our next meeting will be Tuesday, December 3rd at 9 a.m., and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.